Everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Yard. So excited today. My name is Darryl Scotti. I'm your host, and today I'm joined with some Big Yard collaborators and producers. We've got Alex Chacon, Bill Dutcher, the great Aaron Howard. We are really excited because today we're coming with you to a fireside chat. Although there's no fire here, we could have called it a round table, but then there's no round table either. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of the industry challenges, some things that musicians and producers and songwriters sit and talk about behind the scenes. And we want to bring that to you as if you were in the room with us. And we're going to talk about some stuff. And if it resonates with you, let us know. Subscribe to it, send us a chat, whatever it takes to let us know if we're on the right direction, because we're excited about this and we've been talking about it for a long time. So let's get started right away with our very first question. I'm going to present that to, let's present it over here to Alex. So let's start here first. So okay. Spotify, of course, is a controversial topic. We see discussion in Congress right now. Some love it. And some will argue against it, and some are for it, and some just kind of want to let it happen and figure out a way for the industry to adapt to it. And so we're going to talk about all those things and just kind of, it's going to exclude songs. It's going to have fewer than 1,000 annual streams, and you might consider an artist that does that for 1,000 streams makes about $4, okay? And so for me, the thing that I think is most concerning as a songwriter is that young songwriters and aspiring songwriters seem to be on the short end of that stick. And we're seeing Spotify make a lot of money, and I'm all for that. I'm all for companies that want to make an investment in themselves and build it up and help artists and provide the services that they are, which are fantastic, right? I mean, we have to agree
Spotify's
they're fantastic.
Good. From a user perspective?
From insane. A music, yeah, absolutely. But yet, is there this line of what word am I? Disembarkation? Is there a line that is it the major companies? Is it the major artists? Is it who? So all we really want to do, folks, is we want to provoke some conversation. So let's get started with that. And Alex, let's go to you.
So I said something the other day, and I'm going to say it again. Recently, I upgraded all my iPhone stuff, and I needed to do the iCloud thing, and I think it's 250 gigabytes of iCloud is $10.99 a month for the subscription, and then Spotify is what, $14.99 for the Duo or whatever, the new Duo thing. Like that right there in itself is just very confusing that I'm spending $10.99 on iCloud storage for things, and we're spending $14.99 for people's artwork. There's something there that just doesn't really feel right. That being said, I mean, all of the streaming platforms have really forced artists, us, songwriters, everyone in the industry is really having to diversify what they do. I mean, now more than ever, it's so important for musicians and artists to create content and market and brand, and you need to have a logo, you need to have updated photos, you need to be promoting every one of your gigs, and your website needs to look good, and there's so much more.
And you have to wear every one of those hats.
Right, yeah, that too. And I mean, you're not just playing marketing and social media, you're also your booking agent, and you are also your personal contract lawyer basically for venues, and you're negotiating, and all of that is putting so much stress on artists that it's just becoming to be like, it is an issue. It's not becoming, it is an issue in the industry, and it's something that I think that needs to be talked about and something that needs to be put forward, and there needs to be solutions. So.
I know you've got a lot to say on this, Aaron, and hold on it and percolate on it for a moment, because I want to turn to Bill. Bill, and you two, you guys play a lot. I know Alex is a performer, it's just how I met him when we first started working together, is now a producer, and he works with media and whatnot, and some of the services that artists need. And he's very busy and very good at it.
Thank you, man.
Alex, you're very good at it. And you two, of course, as producers, and I've written songs with you and co-writing with both you guys, but as performers, let's talk a little bit about, not to get away from this issue, but let's pivot a little bit in terms of those hats that Alex had mentioned. So I think that's a very interesting dialogue. So let's go to Bill and talk a little bit about it. You do a lot of gigging, you do a lot of shows, and then let's go over to Aaron and let's get his take on it.
You do have to wear all the hats. You have to be the manager, the roadie, the performer, the booking agent, the lawyer, everything. What I struggle with, I think, today in this landscape with the live streaming thing and the Spotify and all the other streaming platforms is Alex made a comment that we are turning into these content creators. And there's something inherently wrong I have with that, that we're essentially pimping ourselves to the nth degree, where we have to put so much energy into that. I think it detracts from being the creative artist. I think there's a side of this that we're so worried about wearing all these hats that we can't concentrate on our creativity, our soul, and what's in here, and create that music, your product, and not just content. It's an ever-changing landscape out there that we all have to deal with. You do have to adapt. These streaming services, I see them as a necessary evil. You do have to have it. I mean, it's just part of the game. But you look at guys like Guthrie Govan.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything. He plays with a band called the Aristocrats. Right. Tremendous, incredible guitar player. Doesn't really create content, yet he's got a following. He does. He's got, he's got a presence. So there's a side of me sometimes, some days, that I just kind of want to try to one on Bigfoot and not be found. And I don't want to be found. And because of all this stuff that we have to do, I would rather just be in my bubble, if you will, and create what I feel is real, what comes out of my soul, and just let the public have it and see what happens.
You brought up another question here. So for me, this stuff that is necessary evil that we were talking about, do you feel that, and I so appreciate your one-up on Bigfoot, dude, that was awesome. A very elusive creature. Yeah. So let me ask you this, does any of that, do you feel, and I'd love to have Aaron's take on this too, help you sell out the MIM, twice a year?
Yeah,
with your show?
I think...
And you go and do the similar kind of a thing in another part of the country, but you sell those shows out.
Yeah, I think just maintaining that elusiveness, if you will, for lack of a better word, and let the kind of the word gets out among the people, and hey, have you heard of this? This guy, go see that show, type of thing. I think it does kind of fuel that in some aspect. Tying that into the changes with Spotify that happened. There's something inherently wrong with these numbers, I think, that are forcing these artists that don't get so many plays that get kicked down here. I mean, it's just turning into this horse race.
50,000 a day that get loaded up to Spotify alone. I mean,
60,000.
Yeah.
Increasing.
Man, thank you for your insight on that.
Yeah,
Bill.
Absolutely.
I would like to say one thing to what you had to say. So it is an interesting point where it's it is forcing creators, songwriters to feel more pressure, which I do believe is actually diminishing the quality
of the content
of what we're, and it's when is that, where's the line gonna be drawn where it's and it really does come to the personal experience and how you want to shut. It's almost like somebody else said recently in one of our interviews, you have to really pick a lane. You have to choose your lanes as far as what you really are wanting to do. What is your end goal? What are you trying to what's making you happy? And I think that is the most important thing to really decipher when you're traveling through the landscape of all the noise of what we have to be doing as artists.
And this mentality that you have to create something weekly and put out something, I think
4 times a week.
It dilutes the quality, I believe. You're just putting out stuff for the sake of putting out stuff, rather than really earnestly developing that idea, and when it's ready, then bring it out to the public.
But that caters to the appetite of the consumer. The consumer wants to do that. They're flipping TikTok. We
live in a world today of 15-second sound bites. Attention spans are nil. Right. And none, and it's a changing landscape.
And ironically, TikTok is realizing right now that they can't make as much money as they need to because of that. people are just swiping past the ads and they're not making money. And so, well, I mean, they're making money, but they're not making enough money. So they just expanded their video limit to 30 minutes. And now they're rewarding videos that get watched past a minute, 3 minutes, which is crazy because nobody's on TikTok to watch 3 minutes of something. Mm-hmm. And so the only people that are really, so again, you sort of have this descent to the lowest common denominator. It's like if something is sensational enough, it's not the cream that rises, it's like the sensational, the inherently viral that tends to rise. Well, Connor's great, but Connor's doing something creative. So I'm talking about this guy, Connor Price. That's who Darryl was mentioning. And he is a rapper, and he's really creative, and he's really thoughtful, and his work is good on a commercial level. And he has found a way to turn promoting his songs into these really, really fun skits that are funny, entertaining. He's got these videos that are a minute long, and you get a clip of the song at the end, but he'll do some sort of crazy skit before the song, and he's going viral over and over and over, and he's grown year over year to now he's got, 300-400 million streams on Spotify this year, and he's selling out big venues. As far as, are we on my take on the whole thing?
Yeah,
let's go, yeah.
Absolutely.
As far as my take on the whole Spotify thing, I think that the way they changed the rules for artists, that's insane. I mean, 1,000 plays per song. Yeah, sure. There are a lot of artists that will never get there on any of their songs. And I feel like, hey man, give them their $1.50. And I know that Spotify, like that split among 60,000 songs a day becomes a little bit of an issue. They get all their friends to listen, and their friends listen for a month, and then they don't listen until they come out with something new. But you have these people that are never hitting 1,000 streams on any song. Maybe Spotify's not their focus, but it's like by the end of a year, they might have made $17 with all of their stuff combined if they have 40 songs out. And now that's zero. And it might seem inconsequential, but it's kind of insane. Like it doesn't work.
But do you think that this algorithm change and the point that you just made may birth something else? Will something else, Alex had said one time, where there are challenges, there are opportunity.
So that plays into my bigger take on it, which is this: the most valuable asset to make an artist successful, for labels to make money, for everything, is a piece of finished music. And it's a really, really good piece of finished music. Does that make sense? Like, The Wall. Like if people were making records like The Wall and putting them out all at once, that would be one of the most valuable assets you could possibly make. Okay? Granted, I went back to, decades for an example of a record like that, but it's just an iconic record that's good all the way through, that tells a story in a whole arc. Mm-hmm. So that finished piece of music is one of the most valuable assets in existence for building artists, for labels to make money, for Spotify to make money. Spotify makes money because songs are good. For an artist, I don't foresee a world in which that is a valuable asset to earn money anymore. I don't think that there is a road to where people pay a lot of money to consume music again. You can't go back from I paid $9.99 a month for 10 years to get all the music in the world.
Wrong.
Yeah, you can't unring the bell. So there are a couple things here that I see as a possibility. So one, I think you have to play in the world that exists. So Bill had a perfect example. He wants to do what he does and not create content. That's fantastic. I think you also have had 25 years to build yourself up in person with people. Yeah. You made a lot of connection, and even when you're performing, you're one of the most connecting performers I've ever watched. You look at people in the eye all over the thing, and you nod, right? Like I've seen you, like you've done it to me, like, while you're singing a song, you press a loop and give somebody a goofy grin. And so you create this connection where people feel like, I kind of know this dude, and I got to go see him.
And when a technical comes up, he looks at him and says, it happens.
Yeah, so he is, so I think that you have a unique opportunity to do what you want to do. I think if we're talking to somebody who's starting out, they have two options. One, spend about a decade getting to know everybody in their community and kill it locally, or a couple communities, right? Like you go out east and do the same thing, probably because you spent some time there, right? So I don't know the whole story, but that's my assumption. Where you're talking to an artist who's starting out, they got to play the game. Like I'm trying. I cried about it yesterday. I'm trying to make 30 pieces of content a week. Okay? Because TikTok should be 3 to 4 a day, right? Instagram should be 1 a day, and that goes back and forth between carousels and reels. I mean, it is a madhouse. And so I think that you have to play in the world that's there, but that asset, the best asset, a finished piece of music, it takes the most investment of time and money. It takes the most investment of heart and soul and care. And it's the most valuable thing for making everybody on top of the pile money. And I don't think that beyond, short of the 100 million stream level, it's ever going to be valuable again unless you connect personally with people and they want to support you. So, hey, I'll buy your $45 vinyl. I'll buy your best fan kit that has the $45 vinyl and the t-shirt and the thing. And it's not just merch, it might be Bandcamp. Bandcamp, no one actually wants to go get their music on Bandcamp. The only reason they want to is because they are actively going, I would like to give my money to the arts. This person is the kind of art that I would like to see more of. Therefore, I will give my money to them.
Right.
Yeah. Great point.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great point.
Like I don't think you can unring the bell, and I don't think starting some company that's going to get artists paid more is enough unless you could, like, maybe if somebody started a not-for-profit competition to Spotify where every penny went to the artists outside of upkeep of the company, maybe.
We have somebody in the studio today, Larry Antonino, a longtime friend of mine. He's bass player for Pablo Cruz. He runs Glenn Campbell's studio after Glenn's death. Agora Borealis, and he's a touring artist and songwriter and producer in his own right. And he's sitting here in the studio, and this is an incredible question. And I'd like to take a short break. I'd like to mic him up. I'd like for him to sit right here and talk about this question, because Larry Antonino can give us a perspective from his standpoint, and I'd love to see you guys banter.